Well, welcome back to our channel, Our Slice of Alaska. Glad you come with me today. Me and Vice are going for our daily walk. It's about 2 miles there and back. This trail is that I'm on today is our winter trail that comes out of the yard, and it goes back to some of the state-funded dog sled trails. A lot of the Iditarod mushers use them through the winter. It's been too icy to run any dogs on them. We're gonna take a walk back there and I'll kind of show you where that trail runs to. So do a little walk and talk today. It's a beautiful day. Springtime is slow in coming, but it's coming. You can kind of smell it in the air today. We're just about ready for it too. Getting some stuff ready back by the cabin. Dee's back there today monitoring chicks. We got about 12 hatching right now, and everything else seems to be going pretty good with the plants. So it's that time of year. Been kind of busy that way, but it's been good. So I thought we'd do a little walk and talk today. I probably like you, because you're watching me today, is you watch a lot of YouTube stuff. I got indoctrinated into it about 6 months ago by my wife. I always thought YouTube was a place to go to try to get that exhaust fixed or get a new alternator put in my truck or something. But lo and behold, there was a whole nother world there, and we got introduced to it. So for those who are new here, we started our channel not too long ago, and it was our purpose was really just to kind of show our life on the homestead here, our off-grid homestead here in Alaska. Thought you might enjoy it. Just kind of our regular routine sometimes, you know, different things that we've learned maybe along the way. The crazy thing about this area is there's probably, I don't know, I would say 6, 8, maybe 10 different YouTubers, probably within 10 miles of here. And we kind of watch them all, you know. We enjoy watching their lives, and we learn a few things here and there. It's funny because you go places locally and then you kind of run into them, which is kind of cool. And so when I thought about what I wanted to do this on today, what I'd bring up in this little walk we have today was something that I think dawns on me every time I watch a YouTube channel. A lot of the homestead stuff primarily is this question: what do these people do for money? I mean, you know, I watch these channels, and even ourselves, you know, you watch us, we're, you know, cutting wood, splitting wood, shoveling off the porch, drinking coffee next to the fire, and all them things. That's great, but you know, what do you do for money? Because it's not cheap to live here, you know, and coffee costs money, property taxes cost money. If you want to go to Costco, that costs money. You got to do more than, you know, raise goats and a few chicken eggs. So I thought maybe you'd be interested. Where I got this from is we watch a lot of the YouTube people, like I said, and there's usually 2 questions that come up in most of the Q&As and most of the sit-downs that people have, or even in the comments. And one of the questions is, you know, do you get wildlife in your yard there in Alaska? I think the impression is that, you know, every day there's a bear behind every tree. And, you know, honestly, when I first moved here, I believed that. I kind of carried a shotgun with me wherever I went. What we've learned since we've been here is we haven't seen no bears on our property. We've had mini moose that have come in down this trail right here, and so we've had to shoo them off in a lot of different ways, and you kind of learn different ways to do that. And one of the ways that we found that was been pretty effective with the moose is a slingshot. Funny as that may seem, we've tried a lot of different things to get them out of the yard, because we learned when we first came here, once they make a home, and you'll find them on your front porch sleeping, and they don't let you out too easy. So someone told us when we first came here, you go look at moose in somebody else's yard. But we still enjoy watching them. You know, they're an amazing animal, and we sure love our moose up here. But having dogs and like I said, not having them homestead in our yard, we've used a slingshot, and a guy from Walmart actually suggested that. I went in there looking for some other deterrents, and he had said that he always used a slingshot. So he sold me a wrist rocket with some little glass balls, and the first time I used one, I don't know what it was, but that moose did not like that too much, and I never seen him again. So as far as animals go, you know, in the yard, we have our share of moose that come in. Bears, we haven't had any in our yard. It's such a huge area out here that they got a lot of room to roam around, but there is a lot of bear hunters back here sometimes, and a lot of trappers. So when I go for a walk like this, pretty much wilderness back here, especially this time of year in the spring, I always carry a sidearm with me. And Vice, he's been pretty good. He usually alerts me to anything that's going on. You know, as far as he can smell and see things a lot faster than I can. So he's pretty good. He keeps a pretty good eye on me. Don't you, buddy? He just runs around like... But he kind of demands his walk every day, which is a good thing. I'll be honest, you know, so they always told me that just to go and just try to get out and walk 20 minutes a day makes a world of difference, and it's true. I've really enjoyed these 2-mile walks every day, not just physically but mentally, especially this time of year. You know, you really feel like if you need to get out, like I said, smell this spring air. It does wonders for you. So yeah, as far as that first question goes, you know, wild animals, there's different areas, and then you always got to be a little careful about, you know, keeping things out, making sure your garbage is all picked up and things like that. But it's surely a bear not off of every tree. So the second question that everybody seems to be curious about and ask is the one I brought up, is, so what do people do for money? Homesteading is hard here in Alaska. I think it's necessary, though. You know, we homestead here for our food. It's nice to know where your food's coming from, and so we don't garden as a hobby, and most homesteaders don't. They garden, you know, to put food in the pantry. It's kind of hard to get fresh stuff up here sometimes, and stuff grows really well here in Alaska. So homesteading sure has its benefits. We've had ample amount of eggs all year, which has been kind of a deal across the rest of the country, but we don't seem to be suffering too much. But as far as the money situation goes, I think there's a lot of different ways people make money. You know, no matter where you go, you know, if you have a skill, let's say you're plumbers, electricians, auto mechanics, welders, things like that, that you kind of gravitate toward those things, and those jobs are available here too. If me myself personally, when I came here, I had done tree work for a very long time for a large tree company back in Wisconsin. I decided that's really not what I wanted to keep doing. I would accept a job if one came up because it was in my comfort zone. But when we came here as an adventure, I kind of figured part of the adventure was to start over on most things. And I did. It's not always easy to do that, especially the older you get. You know, I was probably 57 when I got here, and to start over, I had never filled out a resume or had an interview for 35 years. So to start over kind of like that, and you know, to do that, and then there's always that tension, right? That nervousness of starting something new that you didn't know. And so we had a lot to do when we got here. We had to put up a house before winter. We had to do a lot of other things necessary to get settled in here, obviously. And so at first I wasn't really looking for employment. I had a little bit of money with me when I came. Had a little bit of retirement, had some stuff that we had sold in another home back in Wisconsin. So I wasn't desperate then, but I also knew that I just couldn't retire. That eventually I had to make some sort of money. So when I came here, we did know some people here. It ended up that one of them was, yeah, runny nose. One of them was a manager of a transit company here. And so this transit company, what they would do is give people rides, you know, Medicaid rides, take people grocery shopping, do their laundry, get their water. A lot of the needs that people had around here, they just didn't have no transportation. And so had the ability to go work for there for a little bit in the beginning. And honestly, it was just a blessing because I got to meet so many people, and I got to see so many areas that I would have just never had a chance to do. So so I did that for a little bit, and then I went and I met this guy through this process and through the building of our house. What he did is he dug septic systems and did wells, had his own pits, you know, did that kind of stuff, excavating stuff. Had a few gravel pits in the area, and he was looking for somebody to run a dump truck. And so I came here with a commercial driver's license, and I thought, what the heck, I've never done that before. So I worked for him for a couple seasons, and that right there was another opportunity for me to get to know this area really well, to get to meet a lot of people, and to really do something and stretch myself to do things that I just wasn't comfortable with at first. And so I enjoyed doing that for a couple years. And through that job, I had met another guy, and before we came here from Wisconsin, we had raised sled dogs for about 15, 16 years. And it was kind of probably one of the reasons that brought us here, the allure of coming to Alaska and racing here. But anyway, this guy had this touring company, a sled dog tour company, and he asked me if I would be interested in, you know, coming and helping him with tours. And that too turned into a lot of fun. I met a lot of people from around the world. Got to do something that I enjoyed doing, was driving a dog sled, and in the process I got to share that desire, that joy that I got from doing it with other people. And with it came some stories and experiences. I had I'll tell you one story, maybe two. We got time today. You got no place to be. We had this young people that had come from Dubai. I remember they showed up one morning, and we did our briefing that we usually do with the tourists when they would come, you know, and give them an idea what the dog sled was and how to ride the sled and some of the things about it. And they were just amazed. I mean, they came from Dubai. They had never seen snow. They had never seen trees like this. They had never experienced something like this. So we put snowmobile suits on them and put their boots on. They had never wore that kind of stuff. They were just in heaven. And so we did that, and we came up and put them on the dog sled. And I just remember we took off, and it was about maybe a 3-mile ride up around through the woods and stuff. And what you did is, on these tourist sleds, you stood in the middle, and then in the front, one person would sit in the sled, and in the back somebody would stand on the runners in the back. And so I remember leaving out of the dog yard, and we got a little ways out, and all of a sudden I heard this guy, this young man from Dubai, he goes, "Ooh!" And so I turned around and I said, "Are you all right? You okay?" And he goes, yeah, okay. He says, "But," he said, my face. And I go, "Oh, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And he said, yeah. He says, "Yeah, but what's that tingle? What's that tingle?" And I says, "Well," I said, "that'd be cold." And he said, "Oh, cold." And I got such a kick out of that day, that here is this young man that had never felt cold before on his face at all. And for somebody that came from Wisconsin that lives in Alaska, put a lot of miles on a dog sled, to me it was just so interesting. And just to watch the enjoyment and the fun that they had just riding through the woods and feeling cold and snow underneath their feet for the first time, man, I just got a lot of joy out of that. And then we had this other lady, and she was from Japan, her and her husband, and they had come to ride the dog sled, obviously, and it was on their bucket list. And so they showed up one day, and I could tell she was pretty apprehensive of the whole deal. And so no, I would say apprehensive. This woman was scared. And so the husband went on to inform me that this woman, that she was deathly afraid of dogs. I mean, this woman was petrified of dogs. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? God bless you, but why would you come here on a dog sled if you're so afraid of dogs? And I thought to myself, well, maybe this was going to be a good thing. So we split up the people, and I was fortunate enough to get this woman on the sled, and it was something just to get her on the sled because dogs were right in front of her. And so I reassured her, I told her, I says, no, I said, it's going to be okay. I said, the dogs are great. They're wonderful. You're going to have a great time out here today. This is going to be an experience of your life. We'll make sure that you're safe and everything's okay. Don't have to worry about a thing. The dogs are great. And so we take off, and she turns around and she looks at me. She goes, am I going to die? I said, no, you're not going to die. I said, I told you the dogs are great. It's wonderful. We're going to have a great experience today. You're going to be fine. We've done many of these and no one's died yet. So you're going to be just fine. And so a little while later, she turns around again and she looks at me. She goes, am I going to die? And I said, no, you're not going to die. I said, I told you things are good. We've made it this far. Everything's great. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy the scenery and just enjoy yourself. And so we got about 3/4 of the way through the tour, and she turns around, she looks at me again, and she goes, am I gonna die? And I said, and by this time I'm going, you know what? It is what it is. So I looked at her and I said, I'm not quite sure. I said, at this point, I said, who knows? It could go either way. And she looked at me and she turned around and she never asked me again if she was going to die. And so I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But we get back and she looks at me and she kind of smiled, and she gets off the sled and she went over and started petting the dogs. And I'm going, oh my gosh, she conquered it. She got through the whole thing. She didn't die. And she had just a heck of a time. And I thought to myself, that woman faced her fears and won. And it's kind of the same way, I think, when you're when you're coming here and you're looking for a job, especially the older you get and you got to start over and learn something new and all that kind of stuff, is you got to kind of face those fears and just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to make an adventure out of this, and I'm probably not going to die. And so I would say that if two things, right? If you're watching this channel and you just want to see Alaska and see how people are living on the homestead and all that stuff. We got a lot of people that like that. I like watching other channels from all over the world and their culture and all that stuff. If you're thinking about coming here and that was always a question that or maybe it's just a question you got by watching these homestead channels, like, yeah, but what do they do for money? That's what I did. It's different, like I said. There's urban and there is some urban. You got Anchorage, you got Wasilla, you got Fairbanks. You got some bigger areas that have the regular jobs, the regular types of jobs. Outside of there's not a lot of factories here. There's none of that stuff, but the usual stuff, that you could probably do in a bigger city. If you want to live more rural, then it becomes more of a challenge, like it was for me. We live in a rural area. I looked around. I found that it probably wasn't real hard to make money, but you couldn't probably just do one thing. I think most people in Alaska always have a side hustle, right? Most people you talk to, they make a little money here, make a little money there. There's even some money that we make off the homestead. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we barter eggs. We got a lot of our plants sold starts this year. These eggs that we have in the incubator right now, they're hatching. They're all sold already. You can do things to make money off the homestead. There's other people, some of these homestead channels that do. They combine some of the things they make off the homestead with YouTube and other things, and they seem to be okay. But on the average, it's really hard to make money off of just a homestead. If you're a younger person in Alaska, if you're moving here and you're in your 20s and 30s, I mean, there's some opportunities here. There's some good opportunities up on the slope, North Slope, Prudhoe Bay. That's where most of the oil and gas is produced. It's a very lucrative way to make money. A lot of these guys, they'll do maybe 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. They make pretty good money. I think they average between $80,000 to $120,000 a year or more. And there's mines that do the same thing, give you an opportunity to work 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off, or something like that. Gives you an opportunity after you're done working to really go around and enjoy yourself. So those opportunities are here. If you're a young guy, if you come up here with those skills, you come up here like I did with a commercial driver's license, have some sort of equipment background, stuff like that, those guys are always needed. There's always competition with the slope guys. So those jobs are pretty good. I had an opportunity to do a few other things since I've been here. I apart from working in transit, and then I went and worked, drove dump truck for a while. Like I said, sled dog tours. Got to work for a company that sold materials to contractors. They were looking for a forklift operator, and I had never operated a forklift in my life. So I thought, oh, what the heck, what do I got to lose? So I did that for a little bit. I enjoyed that, learned a little bit along the way. And I never thought that I was nervous, probably like most people are later in life, of starting and starting all over again. But the adventure was good. I learned a lot of new things, stretched myself a little bit, and it kind of made for the whole adventure. Here in Alaska, there is other things. The Alaskan train, the Alaskan Railroad. I think if I was a younger man, that's where I would go. I don't know. I just got this love thing with the train. I don't know what it is, but I hear that train whistle, and I seen that thing coming through, and we've had an opportunity to ride the train, and I don't know. It just must be in my genes somewhere in the past or something, but I got a real affection for the Alaskan Railroad. But other than that, there's I think there's 4 military bases here in Alaska, maybe more. If you want to serve your country, this is a great place to come and do that. Take very good care of your veterans. In my younger days, I served in the Army National Guard for about 7 years, and now there's a lot of benefits from being a past veteran when you come up here to Alaska. They take very good care, because they kind of want these guys to stay. Once they come up here and they serve up here, they kind of want them to stay. And along with that, I mean, if you didn't want to serve in the military, there's jobs on the military bases, and they're kind of scattered out. There's a big base over by Anchorage, J-Bear, Joint Base. So they got different branches all in one. There's a big base up north, up by Prudhoe, up in that area. There's one over by Delta, and where's the other one? There's another one. I think there's 4 bases. Oh, there's one in Fairbanks. There's an Air Force base in Fairbanks. And so there's always opportunities for that. Like I said, there's things here to do. It's a lot different in some ways of the lower 48, in that, especially when you get into the rural part, that it is very seasonal. Even contracting, there's only probably 5-6 months of really good building, if that. And it's after that, most of these guys take the winters off. Not all of them, but a good majority of them. So like roofers and things like that, they're always in need here, but it's pretty seasonable. And then you probably need to get yourself, a side hustle doing something else. That's what a lot of guys do. I mean, even these guys that I know that have different channels, a lot of these guys are doing something else on the side. Some of these guys will plow snow when they can. This year, there's not a whole lot of money in that. We just haven't had a lot of snowfalls. So things like that. Tourism is huge here, obviously. I mean, I think a lot of people got Alaska on their bucket list for a lot of different things. I'm come up here to obviously look at the beauty of this place, but also to go hunting. And so guides, places like Princess Lodge, Holland Tours, all those places, they hire quite a few people in the summertime, and it is pretty touristy up here. I mean, you go up, especially around Talkeetna area, up north toward Denali. There's a lot of people that come up there. Those small towns, like Talkeetna is a very small little area. It's old time Alaska. A lot of people, it's part of that tour they want to see. The train comes to Talkeetna, so a lot of people off the train will go into Talkeetna for a couple days. There's shops all over. There's numerous things that you can do up there as far as part-time work, and people from all over the world come and do that. So there's jobs like that. I would say that another way that people make money here, kind of on that side hustle, but if you want to come up here and do some homesteading and this kind of life is really what you've been kind of desiring, is if you got some building skills and you can get a fairly decent piece of property, you can build some small cabins and stuff. Airbnbs up here are huge. There is no motel hotels in this whole area. A lot of the tourists that come up, they'll rent motorhomes or do stuff like that, but a lot of them sometimes want to like hang out for a few days in other places. So Airbnbs are usually a good way for people to do that. Everybody I know that has Airbnbs are usually filled up a good part of the year. You'll even get a lot of people in the winter time that'll come up here to experience the Alaskan winter. You got the Iditarod, you got other dog sled races, and you got a lot of other things going on here in the winter time. that people would really enjoy. And you probably don't got to kind of deal with all that tourism as much in the wintertime as you do in the summertime. So it is a destination, that ability to have an Airbnb, and you don't even got to have plumbing or electricity, you know. Off-grid stuff up here, that homestead life is pretty common, you know. So if you, long as you supply them with water and a good outhouse, you know, that's kind of what the adventure is, right? Come up here and, you know, live back somewhere and live in an old cabin, you know, as long as, you know, it's comfortable and safe, you know, you'll find a way to get people in there. But yeah, so that's another way to do that. So I hope it's been helpful. I mean, it's pretty generic, I suppose, no matter where you go. I mean, what you got to do for money. But like I said, you know, there's property taxes here, there's gas for the generator, groceries still got to be bought. You know, we can't grow toilet paper, and dog food's expensive. But you know, if you come up here and you really come for an adventure, part of that adventure is that, you know, to experience new things even later in life. And if you're younger, to experience this life early to see if it fits you, serve your country, do different things. I don't have any regrets doing it. I learned a lot along the way. Some of it wasn't easy, you know. It gets harder, I think, the older you get. You get kind of set in your ways, and you kind of humble yourself a little bit. That's pretty good. So I appreciate you joining me today on my walk. I want to show you though. This is the Emelstanzik Trail. I got up to the main training trail. Like I said, we have two state-funded ones here in this part of Alaska, Emelstanzik, and then we got another one's called Hassler Norris. It's on the other side of Willow Fishhook. But this one right here, all through the winter, we get quite a few Iditarod people come up here and train in this area. And it's just a beautiful area. It's very secluded. And like I said, this time of year, when it's all froze up, it gives access back here, and there's not a lot of snow right now, so it's pretty much ideal. I know Vice really thinks so. So I just want to give you show you the trail and what it looks like. So this trail here, you can go for miles. I mean, you can go 1,000 miles probably if you wanted to. This trail here, it's thousands of acres, surrounded by thousands of acres. There's inner side looping trails that go in all directions. And it's, like I said, it's state funded. They pay people to actually groom this trail through most of the winter. So we've been blessed to kind of be back here, find a piece of property that kind of matches us. Not just the homestead stuff and the seclusion of it, but also that ability to be back here in the heart of Alaska, go for a walk, enjoy the day. Well, thanks for joining me and Vice today on our little walk. Like always, press like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Also include your comments. We always like to hear what you got to say. It don't cost you a thing, it's all free. And also today, if you got yourself an adventure planned, or maybe you're going to face some sort of fear, remember, most likely it's probably not going to kill you. And if nothing else, maybe you could just go for a little walk. Thanks again. Have a great day. See you next time.